Hey guys, Thomas from Team Sakuraso here, coming at you with 5 cards I have in your trade binder for June. Now, like usual, if this video gets 60 likes, I will do a part 2 later on in June. And if that part gets like 75 likes, I'll do a third part in June. Because you guys absolutely love this series, and I'm glad you do because I love doing this series too. I want to thank you guys a lot for 1,500 subscribers as well. It really does mean a lot to me. It's nice that you guys come to these videos. We talk about cards. Sometimes I get other suggestions for 5 cards on your trade binder or market watches in these videos, and I just love talking to you guys. So if you haven't ever dropped a comment, go ahead and do so if you feel comfortable. I would love to have a conversation like usual with you guys. Also, if you guys are buying any of these cards I mentioned off TCG Player or anything on TCG Player, please use my affiliate link down in the description below. It helps out the channel to no additional cost to you. And consider being a YouTube channel member as well. Help support me put out more videos, put out more like expensive type openings. Because you guys know with openings, I like to go hard or go home. And if you guys are not subscribed, hopefully today's date that I earn your subscription. I have a really big goal for this year, which is 2,000 subscribers, so I want to see if I can get it, and yeah, I'm just going to jump right into it. So the first card I have here is actually Spell Shattering Arrow Altimeter, and this is coming out of Astral Pack 7. Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys to grab this is because of a couple reasons. Number one, it is a very old Altimeter card that does have that collector's value since Spell Shattering Arrow was used in the anime. People really like this card, along with if it ever sees play, which it can and has competitive wise, especially when pendulums were at their peak and full power. And the reason being is if you guys don't know what this card does, it destroys as many face-up spell cards your opponent controls as possible, and then you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each. Now, we didn't have stuff like Twin Twisters back when pendulum was at full power, so people ran stuff like this, Fairy Wind, MST, but again, you'd have to draw these cards as well. And while our back removal wasn't exactly weak per se back then, although it was definitely a lot weaker than what we have today, it's nothing like we have today. So stopping pendulums by destroying their scales through, generic back row destruction, that was quite tricky. So with this card, what you would do is you'd play it, it pops both their scales or something else if they have it, right? Some type of field spell, continuous spell card, right? But it inflicts 500 damage to each. So instead of doing a 1-for-1 like you would with MST, destroy their best scale or the scale that would cause them the most problems, you would do this because it destroys both scales, so you don't have to choose, and anything else. So you'd be basically using 1 card to get rid of 2 cards and inflicting 1,000 damage. And that was usually what would happen unless they had an interrupt or if they had another face-up spell. So you could even trade 1 card for 3 cards or 4 cards possibly at the time. That's why this card is, that's when this card probably saw the most play. Now, I still think that this is a great card. The Altimeter lightly plays are staying at $35. Near mints are going for $40. And if you guys do not know and don't watch my market watches religiously, which you should, I know I watch them. But what I would probably do is I would get these while you can, because it is not only a 3 of, but it's an old Ultimate Rare that has been bought out. It's been bought out about a month and a half ago, and it's calmed down because it's a little hard to buy out that card. But eventually, Astral Pack Ultimaters are going to become very scarce, especially because we've seen so many Astral Pack Ultimaters. This can double overnight, especially if it's ever used in the meta again. And with certain pendulum decks, like from Ancient Guardians, popping up, like Triff topped with the latest pendulum deck from Ancient Guardians, I believe. I believe it's called, it's not Melodious, but something similar to that. I think it's called Euphoria. Pendulums could come back at any given point, especially if you get Electromite. This card could see more play again, so I would definitely grab your copies while you can. Now, the second card here is actually a no-brainer, and I have no idea how I haven't mentioned it in a 5 cards on your trade binder, and this is Dual Terminal Cribons. Now, this is the second highest rarity for Cribons. The highest rarity being its only holographic printing, assuming you don't count DT as holographic, which is from, I believe, Turbo Pack 1 as a super rare, or Turbo Pack 2. And for near mints are going for 60, 70, and they're essentially bought out, so they're probably going to reach the triple digit mark. I'm telling you guys to get the second highest rarity, that is, Cribon's Dual Terminal, and the reason being is because it's used in many older formats. Now, it was crazy in Teledad and other formats like that, and it was very popular until the arrival of Plague Spreader Zombie, right? Which was really good since you didn't have to waste like your normal summon, you could just dump it, which mill decks were very popular back then, and you have a tuner that you could just put back, and then you could stack your deck as well, which could be bad or good, which kind of led to more, Yu-Gi-Oh players kind of being creative with what they could stack and just really adding to the skill cap of the game. But I'm digressing. Cribons was also one of the first most popular tuners we have ever gotten since it came out in Duelist Genesis. And since Emergency Teleport came out in that set as well, you would be able to special summon a tuner from the extra deck as much as you can. Now, its effect, which you pay 800 life points to stop an attack, did not come up as much as people think it did back then, but it still did, since removal and, blowing up the field was still, through Judgment Dragon and stuff like that, was still very, very popular. But Cribons' effect did come up at certain times, so you had a card that could basically protect other cards, from attacks and all that, and a psychic that you could do Emergency Teleport, and it's used in many older formats, which a lot of older formats are now seeing play now, including stuff like Edison format, Elemental Dragon format, so it's not just GOAT format, and like I said, Teledad format, which is probably one of the most popular formats of all time. So DT Cribons are going for about $1 right now. Only $1 for the second highest printing. So the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I see them going up to 15. I would grab a couple copies. I won't grab one. If you want to grab a playset, that's fine, but I grab a couple copies. And we're back. Sorry about that delay, guys. Hopefully you didn't miss me too much. But the third card to have in your 5 cards to have in your trade binder is Wind Witch Winter Bell from Shadows of Valhalla, the secret rare, although you can grab the ultras as well. These start at around $2, and the reason why I'm telling you guys to pick this up is because the whole Wind Witch archetype is actually going up because it's seeing a little bit more play and a little more popularity. Now, stuff like Glass Bell for a common out of OTS Pack 8, I believe, is like $5, $4 to $5 now, and they're selling at these prices. Other Wind Witch cards are also selling at some ridiculous prices, and Wind Witch Winter Bell is used in this engine, I believe, as a 3-of, so this card is going to go up as well. If you guys don't know what this engine is popular for, it's popular in many decks that don't need to access the extra deck besides what they're tuning out with this engine, which is essentially, Crystal Wing, because that's what the engine's most popular for. So certain decks will love this engine, especially because it doesn't even eat up your normal summon, since what Wind Witch Winter Bell does, and I will actually read this to you guys, is that if you control no monsters, you could special summon this card from your hand. So it's a starter that you don't have to use your normal summon on. And then you can special summon a Wind Witch monster from your deck, but it cannot be tribute. You cannot special summon a monster from the extra deck the turn you activate this effect, except level 5 or higher wind monsters. So, Crystal Wing, Stardust, Dragon, other sorts of stuff like that. So this engine can be improved upon later on, depending on what decks it's used in. Right, especially if it's using a wind archetype, it's not going to lock it up too badly. However, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent on it if this card is normal or special summon, right? So you didn't really need that effect per se, but if you're playing this engine and you're going into time and you have like one turn and you just open this up and they can't stop it, you basically just cheese the match win. So congratulations. The reason why I'm telling you guys to pick up this engine, though, like I said before, is because the engine, all the other pieces are going up. This will follow suit. And since it's from Shadows of Valhalla, a set that was very, very popular throughout its lifetime, it was well received, but it got better over time because of Invocation, Wind Witch stuff, Valkyries, right? Along with, and Invoked stuff as well, right? So a lot of people love this engine, and I believe that it will go up and it's going to be harder to get these secrets. So I would grab them at $2, especially because they went from $1 to $2 in the last 2 weeks, since I actually picked this card out a little while ago, and it's already essentially doubled. I could see this going up to about a $5, $6 card. I don't think it's going to go something crazy, but I would make sure you have your playset. Now, the fourth card to have in your 5 cards to have in your trade binder is actually a little bit of an old one, and this is actually Dimensional Fissure, and this is from Champion Pack 8. Now, near mints are about $100. Now, that's a lot of money, and you guys might be asking, so why should we grab this? Well, a lot of Champion Pack cards are actually going to the moon, getting PSA'd, and going for something absolutely crazy, because Champion Pack is not an accessible pack. Yeah, if you have a lot of money, you could get some, but it's better to keep them sealed. Nobody's really cracking them open. We basically have for English copies, we have all the singles on the market right now, or they're never going to be there. So this is a very limited time card. Something like this can also go to 2 or 3, because Konami has put stuff 2 or 3 that I never thought they would. So something like Dimensional Fissure is possible. If it does, people are going to look, and it's going to cause a buyout, just like it does, like every ban list, where, oh, we get this to 3, let's buy it out. It's, rinse and repeat per se, right? So, and since we have the ban list coming up, it is a possibility. These also quickly go up to 130, 150, and this is a very popular floodgate in older formats as well. If you guys don't know what Dimensional Fissure does, by somehow, I'll just read to you. It basically just every monster that's sent to the graveyard is removed from play instead. So, very simple as a floodgate spell card. I would grab your copies if you have enough money, but I won't go absolutely crazy. As an alternative to this, which I don't normally do this in 5 cards of your trade binder, I believe if you could pick up secret rares, first edition for very cheap, I would. They're only a few dollars or less now, so that is not a bad pickup as well for the same reasons as I said before, except for the Champion Pack 8 reasons. So do what you will with that information. Now the last and final card here is actually Jump Stratos. Now, some of you might be thinking which Jump Stratos, and some of you might be looking at this video being like, what do you mean what Jump Stratos? For those who don't know, I'm going to give you a brief history lesson. There's 2 versions of Jump Stratos. It is the only card that actually has 2 jump printings from my knowledge. Now, these printings are JMPS, which is EN008, and this is the most expensive one. This is going for 90 plus. And I actually mentioned in a 5 cards in your trade binder, hey, I would grab these when they're 30 to 40. This isn't too bad. And I grabbed mine a little later at 40, but I ended up making a lot of money off it, so it's fine. But the other version, right, and this is the version I'm telling you guys to buy, is actually Stratos EN0012, and this just says jump normally, not JMPS. It says it's JUMP. Now, a lot of you might be wondering, why should you get the worst jump version? That doesn't make too much sense here, right? Well, it actually does. Now, Stratos is a card that will always sell. It's a hero card, and it's a card that every good hero player will use at 3, all right? I'm just being honest with you. If you're running Emergency Telep or E-Call and you're not running maximum Stratos, on site. All right, I'm going to get my boy Rogue Hero to school y'all. No, but really, please run 3 Stratos. If you're playing heroes, just please. This is just a PSA. But the point is, a lot of people like Stratos, and a lot of people are always going to play Stratos, especially in multiples. Collectors are going to want to have both jump versions, since there's a lot of value to having both jump versions. Now, lightly played start at $11, and near mints are around $15, $16 at the time making this video. I would grab lightly played and near mints because this card will people are going to look at and eventually wonder to themselves, well, we see one jump version at 100. This one's not even 1/5 of that. I should buy these. I should buy a few copies. Blah, 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 blah. And eventually it's going to go up to $30, $35. Now, it's never going to reach the amount of the other one, but it's going to have a certain percentage of that value of that. So I will definitely grab your copies at $11 to $16 while you can, because they're very, very cheap for what they are. And like usual, if this video can hit 60 likes, I will do a part 2 in June. Like always, if you're buying any of these cards I mentioned on TCG Player, please use my affiliate link down in the description below. Helps out the channel to no additional cost to you. And like usual, if you're not subscribed, hopefully today's day I earn your subscription. And let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of these 5 cards I have in your trade binder? And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.